During years, narcotic legalization has been an object of debate for supporters as for people who are opposed to it. As we know, drugs are dangerous, but not only in the way that they kill the consumers. Some of you already know me, or I think it's only him. Well, I'm Oscar Fortanel Benitez, and I have lived most of my life in Mexico. I never had to deal or had the anxiety of someone like of narco traffickers just coming out of nowhere and starting a battle with police or other groups of narcotics. But now that I'm noticing the like in the especially in the border part of Mexico, it's like really violent because of these battles and this drug war. It's, I'm like really I'm like noticing my ignorance until that time that I never had to worry about it, and that's why I'm doing this project. Years back, as you know, I think you are all history class. Um, During Prohibition, many people who were still addicted to alcohol wanted to keep drinking, but alcohol was a beverage. As a beverage, it was impossible to get it from any regular store or bar, since it was illegal. Illegal means lucrative, for that it makes like a lot of money. Many people started to make big business with alcohol, like Al Capone, who dominated a big territory of distribution, getting eventually acquired with other organizations. According to Wikipedia, linked to a rush of killing of epic proportions. Not only enemy organizations, but also innocent people walking by. In fact, all this all this being repeated by drug prohibition. And the fact that drugs are much more addictive than alcohol makes an even bigger business. The most known organized crime groups, or also known as drug cartels, are El Cartel de Sinaloa and Los Zetas, who are in war of dominating many strategic points of distribution, and every time they have a battle or the police tries to stop them, many people result dead. Members of the illegal groups, police agents, and even innocent people just walking by. In 2011 in Mexico, only just in Mexico, according to Wikipedia, um, 12,358 people were killed because of drug wars, and as mentioned in nationalpost.com, almost 13,000 people died in drug violence in the first 9 months of the 2011. But total Mexico's death count rounds 50,000 deaths. Now, legalization is not the only thing that we have to worry about. I don't know, many of you are now worrying about people's health after this process, but legalization and regulation now illegal drugs will result very beneficial. The drug legalization also showed came a regulation of this substance. As mentioned of gongs of Buractras, they need to be subject of more stringent safety checks than food. As with alcohol, anyone who wants to produce it or sell it should be licensed. As proof, research made in countries like Portugal, where illegal drugs are no longer illegal, showed great results related to social problems and even dropped contraction of flu-transmitted infections like HIV by using needles. Um, Maya Salavitz said in her article Drugs in Portugal on Time.com that the paper published by Cato in April found that in the 5 years after personal possession was discriminalized, legal drugs use among teens in Portugal declined. Um, and judging by every metric, the criminalization in Portugal has been resulting has been a resounding success, says Greenwald, an attorney, author of the fluent Portuguese speaker who conducts the research. All this has been possible because legalization has enabled the Portuguese government to manage and control the drug problem far better than virtually every Western country does. As mentioned before, infections from needle shedding also dropped. Rates of new HIV infections caused by shedding of their needles dropped. New HIV infections in drug users fell by 17% between 1999 and 2003. Also, something important to be recognized in this is the decrease in deaths caused by overdose, especially in synthetic drugs like heroin and methamphetamines, were cut for more than half. In addition, drug trafficking is a big problem, including drug war that is costing a lot of innocent lives. But but the concern is the reason of our motivation to this violence. Drugs are illegal and they can be sold for high prices. The illegal marijuana market value rounds the 141.8 billion dollars, according to Haboscope.com, making it a big business for cannabis alone, and cocaine value rounds the 85 billion dollars, according to the same webpage, making about 220 billion just for marijuana and cocaine. In fact, drugs are addictive, and as they get more consumed, they get more addictive until the point that they are necessary for well functioning of the body. As a result, people will try to steal or to raise money to continue consuming. As John Grieve said in Urban75.com, using illegal drugs is very expensive. This means that some dependent users resort to stealing to raise funds. Legalization of drugs will help determine as a much lower price and remove users need to raise funds from crime. Studies made in Colorado and a state that already legalize use and sale of many drugs supports this statement. Violence and property crime rates in the city are actually falling. Studies show that violence crime, including homicide, sexual assault, poverty, and aggravation assault, fell by 6.9 the first quarter of 2014, compared with the same period in 2013. Property crime, including burglary, larceny, auto theft from motor vehicle, and arson dropped by 11.1%, according to MSNBC.com. Additionally, Another big deal about drugs is money. As mentioned before, the drug black market is really big is a really big number, meaning that legalizing these these illegal substances for sale and consumption will lead to a really big raise in taxes. Drug legalization will yield tax revenues of 46.7 billion annual. Assuming legal drugs were taxed at rates comparable to those on alcohol and tobacco, according to Lauren Gauch in FoxNews.com. This big amount of money could have a good use concerning other economic and social problems. Also, as a result of the discriminalization of these substances, the persecution of dealers and consumers will end, saving the government even more money. Jeffrey A. Miron, Senior Lecturer on Economics at Harvard University and Senior Fellow at Cato, and Catherine Waldock, Professor of Economics at New York University, estimated that legalizing drugs will save the government approximately 41.3 billion annually on expenditures related to enforcement of prohibition. In conclusion, drugs being illegal are dangerous, even more than them being legal, because they generate illegal trade, which generates violence. The solution with legalization, allowing regulation, and allow for money savings and taxes that could be used in more important stuff. Drugs have been a discussion for a lot of time, but prohibition is not the solution.
Okay, 3 questions.
Yes.
Okay, do you think foreign relations with Mexico would be better because of the new economic, like if marijuana and other drugs were legalized? Do you think that the relations would be better because now they have a new economic trading system?
Well, these drugs are now illegal, and the fact that it's like there's more security over here, like more policemen and all this stuff makes it impossible to produce over here. So they produce in Mexico. So they trade over here by legal trade. But now there be legal, they could produce it over here and sell it over here. So maybe the trade will end, or maybe they will continue to bring it from over there. That actually will benefit from the trading like relationship between the U.S. and Mexico. Yes.
What drugs do you believe need to be legalized? All of them, or only a certain handful?
All of them. Even though I'm actually against the drug use, but I think like the solution will be legalize all of them.
One more question?
How did you come upon this research?
Yeah.
Like, what made you want to do this?
Just seeing all the violence and the people making money out of killing innocent people. I don't see anything good about it.